Yeah, I know. That's what I'm talking about.
The Smooth Breakfast presents the headlines, the stories, the news. In-depth analysis of national current affairs.
Studio.
Freshly.
Good morning, Lagos. You're tuned in and listening to Smooth Breakfast on Smooth 98.1. It's with Valentine.
And Folu.
And right now it's 7:30, which means detailed newspaper analysis inside the freshly pressed segment. Joining us for a Thursday of terrain analysis, we've got Funmi Odude. Good morning, Funmi.
Good morning, Folu.
There you go. Great to have you here. You can find her of the same name up on Twitter. And we've also got Ugo Dre of Nairametrics. Good morning, Ugo Dre.
Morning, Folu.
Excellent. Great to have you here. You can find him again up online as at Ugo Dre. Just so straightforward, these people in the studio this morning. And Lagos, what's also straightforward is the way that you can communicate with us this morning. Send a WhatsApp message to
0809-440-981.
Twitter is also an option.
Yes, you can use the hashtag freshlypressed981 as you tweet at us at smooth981fm.
And last but not least, we're streaming live on YouTube. So if you go to our YouTube channel right now, hit the subscribe button. Not only will it alert you, but it will also allow you to leave comments there as we go through this morning's stories.
Yes, the first story is from Punch newspaper. Drama as Fayose whips claims he was beaten by policemen. So the drama unfolds ahead of the gubernatorial elections on this Saturday, July 14th. So it happens that they had a rally. The PDP governorship candidate had a rally that was organized by the government house, and and then police came in. Said the police swooped in, shot, fired tear gas. The governor was called in, and he went to the location of the rally to intervene. And he alleged that the police fired a shot of tear gas canister at him, and he was wounded. He also alleged that one of the policemen used the butt of a gun to hit his head, and it raises a few questions for me, because one of them is, according to the Public Order Act of 2004, I don't know if this applies to this case, but it says that procession and rallies exclusively, the powers to actually authorize these processions or rallies is exclusively vested on the governor of the states. Maybe if they perceive that it could lead to the breakdown of law and order. But now it seems as if there's a part also between the police and the governor. Is it the recognition issue or what?
Part also.
I don't know what's going on here, because now it seems as if they did not respect his authority, or whose authority
Definitely.
really should be regarded.
The police is federal.
Because
we still operate the federal police, so the authority comes from, as the story says, orders from above. But it's sad that a lot of people are looking at this story with the personality of the person involved. I mean, a lot of jokes about it on social media, because it's Fayose, and we have this jokes about his neck brace, and is he the only one that was that tear gas was used on, and all of that. But it is actually a very dangerous trend. I mean, is this what our politics have become? We did it, and this is what we've turned the polity to. The police said that they came. We've not received confirmation from the police regarding the treatment to the governor and the deputy governor per se, but in terms of dispersing the crowd, they have admitted that they went there to disperse the crowd because the organizers did not obtain a permit before embarking on the rally. So they say, and I actually want to quote the DIG, the Deputy Inspector General of Police Operations, when he was trying to justify why the crowd was dispersed. He told journalists that we're not going to allow any unauthorized rally that can trigger violence in the state. You can see that the state is tensed up. As law enforcement agents, we must be proactive and take actions that can prevent crisis rather than trying to quell it after it might have broken out. And when I read that quote, I just thought to myself, your actions actually tensed up the state. I mean, you're trying to prevent violence by creating violence. It sort of doesn't make sense to me. And there are actually judicial authorities that say that you don't need a permit from the police to hold a rally, to hold even a peaceful protest. It's always been an issue coming to disperse a protest, because you don't need a police permit. So that excuse is totally totally bogus. And another thing I want to say, the state chairman of the APC, Chief Jide Awe, reacted to it and said what transpired between the governor and the police is the comedy of the year, is entirely a security matter and all of that. And I know how easy it is for us to poke fun when it's the opponent.
Yes.
But whether you like it or not, the breach of the right of one person is the breach of the right of another. Because if they can get away with it with regards to you, when the tables turn,
it will not be as palatable.
It will not be.
Yeah.
They will get away with it again. You sanction it in respect of one person. When it's you or your friend or your family, you can't now come and not sanction it.
Yeah.
So the fact that it's, I don't want to use the word enemy, but the fact that it's a foe that has been treated illegally or in a way that is not right, to not stand up for it, to condone it, to sanction it, is sanctioning it when it gets to you or your friends. It's, politics is one thing, but when you begin to sanction express wrong,
something that clearly is
something
almost
that is
unlawful,
very,
and when
very
you see it
unlawful
as,
and illegal.
You know what's also unlawful to me?
Wow.
I think it's actually a shame that you have politicians behave this way.
Yeah.
Yes, the security agencies have their own issues, but I think it's a big shame to the country that you have a current sitting governor. I don't think people even remember who the PDP guy contested. You kind of think like it's Fayose that is contesting it.
Actually, this
so you have a sitting governor,
his deputy.
right? Yeah. So the politicians themselves, these guys, all they do is heat up the polity, whip up sentiment, create rivalries, and then endanger everybody's lives, not just theirs. So that's actually what's shameful, and that's what we should actually try to figure out how to stop. So if you don't stop these things, these guys are going to keep doing this every single election year. So they know these things work. So what they do is just create divisions, and when they create divisions, we actually can't sit down as citizens to look at the candidates person by person in terms of their policies, in terms of their manifestos, and then have a credible election. That's what usually happens. So for me, it's just shameful.
Yeah.
Really.
All right, moving on now to Vanguard. Labour blows hot. Vanguard newspaper has this one. Labour blows hot over federal government's aborted promotion exam. So an examination was set for between June 25th and the 28th of June. And according to this report, the Association of Senior Civil Servants of Nigeria, ASCSN, yesterday faulted the federal government for cancelling the promotion interview by the Federal Service Commission. They said after accreditation was done, the exercise was rescheduled. They said for unforeseen circumstances. That's the reason, Ugo.
I just want to read out something for you. The military coup of June 25, 1975, which toppled General Yakubu Gowon from power, took place when he was attending which important event?
Wait.
That's the kind of questions you see in the exams. So if you Google these things up, you can see them.
I was like, where are we going with this? What did I miss something in the article?
That's for civil servants.
Yes.
Wow.
And that's what you travel to
that's
Abuja to go
yeah,
and
that's
answer.
what they got, right.
Okay.
I mean, like in 2018.
But you have to know
the
your
kind of exams that people get, really, people who are writing jam or I actually writing. Anyway, back to the story. I think this is very sloppy from the organizers of this exam. Let's just be factual about it. You don't spend months organizing an exam of this nature where you have senior civil servants. I mean, these are people vying for a position of director.
Yes.
Travel all the way from various parts of the country. Why they even need to come to Abuja, I don't even know. Why they can't even take this exam online or whatever, I really don't know as well. But then you have these guys travel all the way, and these are not kids. These are, grandparents for some of them. You have them travel. Some of them are probably too old to be moving around, right, or close to retirement age. And you know how civil service is. Maybe you probably have 2 years left for you to hit director before you retire. But you need to hit that director. So your pension will be up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So these guys come all the way, and then you don't even give them notification, and then you're in town, and then you basically cancel the exams. I think it's irresponsible, and just as everything in Nigeria, nobody's going to get blamed for this. Nobody's going to get queried. Nobody's going to get fired for this. Nobody's even going to resign for this. And there wasn't really any major reason given here. I mean, the other side wasn't quoted in this paper, in this report. But what is also funny is that the labor union here, the association, they're asking for. They mentioned that they risked their lives coming all the way. I thought that was funny.
And it was a
They risked their
traumatic
lives,
experience.
Traumatic experience coming to write exam.
Ugo Dre, traveling from one state to the other in Nigeria.
Moving around Nigeria is risky. Please, let's not even start this.
Thank you. That's what I was going to say. Moving around Nigeria in general, we risk our lives. I come to work every day. I risk my life.
I mean, it's risky.
You know the time I show up here? Come on.
And the guy
come
said he wanted double duty allowance. For that, give us a double duty. You're not asking for them to resign, or for anybody to to the person who did this to be called to question or to be queried.
For the trauma,
give them a double duty allowance.
And the anxiety, because preparing for an exam is not something easy. I mean, imagine how tense they were. Moving on to this next story from Punch newspaper. Plateau State Assembly impeaches Speaker, Majority Leader. So the Speaker of the Plateau State House of Assembly, Peter Azi, was on Wednesday impeached by 17 out of the 24-member parliament dominated by the All Progressives Congress. They said he was replaced by one Joshua Izang Madaki, who's a legal practitioner representing Just East constituency. Funmi, what do you make of the story?
It's the first story that comes out of Plateau after the kind of sad incident that we had is this. It's very shameful, because I'm wondering, and that is, it looks like all that matters at the end of the day is their politics.
Yeah.
And when you look at the reason for the impeachment, it has to do with irreconcilable differences over the removal of a local government caretaker committee chairman.
Yeah.
I mean, this is all that matters to politicians, the politics. How can this be the first story that comes out of Plateau after a violent experience that they've had, after the killings and everything? I don't know. I'm like,
it really is quite worrying. It's just a little bit worrying. We've got a few messages we're going to go through very, very quickly that have come in. Jacob from Aja is one of the first people to send in a message. He says, good morning, crew. You see, according to Governor Fayose, please, when will Nigerians stop seeking help and intervention from international bodies? Are they our God? Shaking my head. While we've got this in from Bakers Wingos, who says, I thought PDP had their rally. What rally was Fayose organizing again? His theatrics are very infantile, and it really is a shame. He was even crying to be flown out for medical attention. I haven't even seen the video of his purported attack, but Fayose is becoming more dramatic than Neymar. I hope Ekiti State hasn't been turned to the fountain of nonsense. Yikes. Big Waj sent in this message saying, go on at the OAU conference in Uganda when he was overthrown. Hashtag simple math. It says, Fayose is comical at best and is clearly putting together his script for the political theatre that is Nigeria coming to all homes everywhere in 2019, says Waji. Thank you for that. Anyways, moving on to our next story. Let's talk about this one in from the Vanguard newspaper. How zero capital vote may hamper NIPOST reforms, from the Vanguard newspaper. And NIPOST are basically crying out because they're saying this year again they've sort of been overlooked in terms of the budget, that the only thing that's been assigned to them is money for recurrent expenditures. Nothing's being put towards capital expenditure, so of course that is going to slow down their progress. That while they do have some money coming in trickles, it is spreading them very thin, and it's making the effect of their attempted reforms just seem minimal. Ugo Dre, what are your thoughts on this?
I was reading this and I was wondering, who is crying over spilled milk? It took you guys this long. The budget has been passed since and it's been signed, and they are about releasing the cash for us to spend. You're not. Is this against next year's budget?
Yeah, maybe something? Because they said this also happened in 2016. That's it. It's like they're making it habit.
How MDAs also have a way of finding their voice in the media. Anyway, but to the story. So NIPOST, I think sometime in 2008, according to the story, wanted to do reforms, and then they got a foreign consultant to figure out what it was going to take. And
yes,
it was going to cost about 40 billion or thereabout. Yep. So it was too much, and the government said, look, why do we bother now? Why
too much.
Putting 40 billion here when there are roads and hospitals to be built? You know what? We're just going to be paying your salaries. NIPOST is one of those agencies that actually should be self-sufficient, if you ask me, right? Because of how people tell they are in the country. Yeah. So you actually have no business even getting money from the government. You actually should be paying the government money, all right, for how critical what you do is to the country. And over the last few years, I think they've been doing reforms in the papers, though, because that's where I read that happens
in real life.
Yeah. So in the papers, you read that NIPOST wants to they want to start agency banking. They want to start to use their because NIPOST has like an office in nearly every local government in the country. Yeah. So they want to be using it for agency banking, or they want to start. They're trying to work out with logistics, all these tech logistics companies to facilitate movement of goods around and blah blah. You see it in the papers, but I really don't know whether okay. And then sometime last year, I went to get a mail for the first time in NIPOST, and so it was from someone sent it from the US, and I think it was it within a week. right?
Yeah, right.
Because when he was saying, I was like, dude, are you okay?
Why would you do it
Who
like
told
this?
you that you did like he said that he worked, so that he just went to the wherever in the US. I said, why don't you just wait and give to somebody? And then a week later, I got a text.
Wow, that's upgraded.
And then I went across the Lekki. I went there, and then I went to one container like that.
Yes.
Somewhere beside that
jetty.
That bar. Yeah, jetty. And I went to the container, and there was this lady there. She just I think she was probably just sleeping, and she just dragged herself off. Walked up. What's your name? He brought out this register. You know,
Wow.
opened it and
Okay.
scrolled down. No computers, nothing.
It's paper now. That's why they're still looking for Kemi Adeosun certificate.
Signed in and all, and then I handed the parcel over to me. So, and then I tweeted about it, and everybody was like, it works. So actually, it does work.
It just needs help.
Yeah. So they do need help, but I think that they need to reform internally, which is what they've started doing, and they should go on with that.
I'm about to ask a very ignorant question on the air, but I do want to know, where does stamp duty go? The stamp duty that's always collected, where does that money go?
Exactly. So stamp duty, because of TSA. Yeah. So stamp duty goes straight to the government.
Okay.
Right, and then
So government is collecting that
yeah, all the money government is collecting.
Chai.
So far as the government agency.
Tough line.
It all goes there.
Moving on now, Premium Times newspaper has this story. The headline reads, "Why Kemi Adeosun's exemption certificate is fake." That's coming from an ex-NYSC director. He's the retired director of mobilization at the National Youth Service, core NYSC, Anthony Ani. He cited reasons why the purported certificate of exemption owned by Nigeria's Minister of Finance, Kemi Adeosun, is not genuine and wouldn't have emanated from NYSC. He gave a couple of reasons in a television interview that he granted yesterday. He said that there was no way the NYSC would issue a certificate of exemption to anyone who graduated before 30 years of age, and gave implications for this. Funmi, your thoughts?
You know, Premium Times is really like a bulldog that just
It's a juicy bone.
They are doubling
They
down.
just will let go. And I've been wondering at Mrs. Adeosun's silence herself.
But do you think it's because Premium Times had to retract something else that they put out there, and it turned out to be fake news, so they've got to come through with this? Yes,
they've got to keep up. But as in, they got so bad they quoted the entire interview in the newspaper.
The transcript.
used all our
And in
printing ink.
previous days, they even published the copies of the certificates that
Exactly.
she presented for verification.
But NYSC's dodgy answers, I think, rest from the fact that they're in a tight spot. Very tight spot. So they say the certificate is not fake, then they have to explain why they issued a certificate of exemption to somebody that did not graduate after 30 years. So they are in a very tight spot. And somehow I feel like Mr. Adeosun has received like an Oliver Pope strategy advice that just keep quiet.
Because here's the thing, someone had posited that this is probably the scenario as it played out when they wanted to invite her to come in and be a minister and to take on this position. Says, listen, I haven't done NYC. They're like, don't worry, we can sort that out.
Sort it out for you.
And we do know that there are people who have these conversations. Let's not pretend that we live in this, idyllic utopian world. It's not true. We know that this is put forward. So it is a bad spot for everybody. And everyone now has to come out and justify why something is good for the goose and not for the gander.
I kind of think Premium Times might be losing this narrative at some point, and I'll tell you why. I think that because yes, Kemi Adeosun is the subject here, but I think they're going after the wrong target. Right? They should be going after the National Assembly, the SSS.
Yes, everyone who vetted, everyone who went through the vetting process.
So because what you're basically saying to us is that entire process of vetting is fraudulent. Right?
Yes,
it's not thorough. So Nigerians are giving you guys the pass to do these things, and we believe that you should be doing it, justify diligently, and then you're not doing it. So how are we sure that the other vets that you've done, you actually do it well? And then these things take time. Sometimes it can take a month or 2 months to vet people. So why are you vetting when you know that you actually use this for blackmail at the end of the day, from what I gather? So I think we're going after the wrong person.
Thank you very much for that, Ugo Dre. Very quickly, a few more messages before we go into our next set of stories. Tony Ayo from Ayobo says, police will slap sitting governor. In this country, they burn him and they buy him. Hey, the new customized tear gas was done to affect only one person and broke his neck again. when you both come and carry your brother come out from my place. Then we've got this in from Sheung, who says NIPOST works much better. They have been effective recently. Thank you for those of us coming through. But Shola says, can NIPOST keep quiet and be happy with the 15 naira they are charging on every bank transfer made? Shola, but see, we just answered that. It's good I asked the question then, because they don't get the money directly. The government still decides how and when and if they get that money. But we've got to move on very quickly. Let's talk about this next story in from the New Telegraph. Security agents have grounded Kaduna over El-Zakzaky. Now, this is because he was being arraigned. So while he was being moved to court, everything was shut down. And there were a lot of people, shop owners, who were really quite unhappy with the situation, saying that, listen, this is a fight for big men. Can't they settle their problem by themselves so the rest of us can make our money? Ugo Dre, what are your thoughts, considering that at least we're beginning to see El-Zakzaky? He is at least about. He's moving about. So more rare sightings of him. What are your thoughts on this, though?
The mixed feeling. Let's start with the good. The good is that at least he has now. This case has now come to court, right?
Yes.
Right, so it's there now. So even though he's been adjourned till August, but at least it's in the courts, and they are now trying it. However, in terms of the entire how it has affected the city, I think it's a lot of our security agencies have to do better at managing high-profile cases like this, or even high-profile visitors coming into states or neighborhoods. And you see this happening a lot. So maybe there's a governor coming into town, president coming into town, everywhere is just shut down. Nigerians can't just go about their livelihood. So now it's not even the president that's coming in. It's high-profile suspected terrorists, right? Is that
yes.
What it is? Exactly. So what's the danger here? Why all the the danger is pretty much obvious because of the kind of people he's with. Yeah. So, but then you basically you're basically sending a message to the people of Kaduna State that at any point in time, whenever this case is being tried, then the city is basically going to be gone. So maybe they should all go on holiday, isn't it? Everybody just stay at home, and probably watch this trial. But then to the trial itself. From what I read here, it's surprising that the prosecution, after all these years, still haven't been able to bring. They haven't
served the other two defendants.
Yeah.
Now,
so I don't know why.
Does that bring to question that perhaps maybe the high-ranking caliber of these other defendants? I mean, because I'm wondering, why would it take so long to serve two other people, which is the reason this has been stalling? Is it because they're of a certain level in society that they can't be served? Because also El-Zakzaky's lawyer, Mr. Nkiom, refused to mention the names because he says, listen, in law, until they're joined to this matter, they're not a part of the matter yet.
One question though is why one defendant is in detention for years and the
again my question. So
So this is why a lot of people who are who criticize this whole thing believe that it's just politically motivated, right? And this is actually not a trial. It's probably the president trying to just deal with one of the security issues in a different way, in an unorthodox way. Just have them just keep the guy somewhere, pending when all these things blows over, and then we can deal with it later. But it's a bad precedent.
Very quickly, messages up from our YouTube live stream. Michael Adetutu says it's shameful for Fayose to think that Nigerians do not analyze the situation. We know our police force can go overboard, but I am so sure that what he claimed didn't happen. Where were his security detail? What were they doing? What about the police attached to him? He went further to say that he was shot at, but apparently no one is hurt except him. Rubbish. We have our Neymar. While Abiodun Fatai also on YouTube says, postal service in Nigeria works, but you refuse to say that you paid some money for the package. Because anytime I receive my package, I'm told to pay for the package despite it being paid for over there. They're clearing fees. Yes, they're clearing fees. And this I do know. Even if you use sometimes some courier companies as well, they will let you know that you still have to pay this clearing. Sorry, clear your package. Moving on now, Funmi, let's go over to you and talk about forfeiture of properties wrongly. So court has voided the forfeiture of properties wrongly linked to Diezani. That is at least the headline from the Punch newspaper. When we look into the details, we're told that 2 London properties were linked to Alison Madueke, Mrs. Diezani Alison Madueke, but that was alongside 17 others. 17. It's a lot of properties, to be honest. But that they actually belong to one Benedict Peters, who's the chief executive officer of the Aeto Group. I mean, what are your thoughts on this? Going through even what Justice Nyako had to say about the previous ruling also.
Yes. So I think we've explained sometime on the show that when the EFCC comes with an ex parte order, it's temporary.
Yes.
And if you have interest in the property,
you can come contest.
So this is what happened. But the interesting part of the story is the judge said sometime in December 2017, apparently those 2 properties had been subject matter of a litigation at the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory. And the court, Justice Musa of the High Court of the Federal Capital Territory, had held that he found that they legitimately were acquired by Mr. Peters, and that was done. But for some strange reason, this year, EFCC went with respect to the same properties and applied for another order before the Federal High Court. Beyond just setting aside the orders, I feel like they should be sanctioned. This is obviously an abuse of court process. You can't say you were not aware that a judgment has already been delivered saying that this properties belong to this man. If you were dissatisfied with that judgment, we have our constitutional right of appeal. Yes. So appeal. Tell the appeal court that the High Court was wrong. But to go to another High Court to get ex parte orders, that's a system of frustration, and it's clearly an abuse.
It's fraudulent behavior.
So that is the part of the story that is really, really sad, and again, abuse of executive powers.
All right, thank you very much for that. For me, I appreciate hearing from you on it. Let's move on to this next story now. The Nigerian government has launched a campaign against fake news causing problems everywhere. Now, besides maybe the mildly hilarious, tone that sometimes we put to it when we say fake news, Nigeria's Minister of Information, Lai Mohammed, has said that, listen, it does cause problems. It's escalating the issues between the farmers and the herders. And he says that it's also an epidemic sweeping the world. Now, I know people do have a tendency to accept what this minister says tongue-in-cheek, and I'm just being very frank about it again. This is based on feedback we get from our listeners. But Ugo Dre, is there some kernel of truth to what he's saying?
Yes, there is. And let me just quote him here. He says, we do not intend to resort to coercion or censorship in this campaign, but we want to appeal to all Nigerians to play their active part. Before sharing, these simple measures may not end fake news, but they will go a long way in stemming the spread. I think this is a very, very important statement.
To people who are always sending WhatsApp broadcasts.
My God.
Listen. Open your ears and eyes.
I'm sorry to say, I hope they won't flog me. Parents actually was like this. I mean, like...
We say it with love, parents. We say it with love.
With all the love, but it's really dangerous the way these things spread, and people don't even verify. And sometimes you even get some from your friends abroad, right? So they are over there, and then this thing. So the way this thing spread is just incredible. And it can be videos, it can be images, and these things, with the way the internet is these days, some of these videos can be compressed into like maybe 2 megabytes. So it's easy to spread, and it just goes around.
It's horrifying stuff. I've heard voice notes that have been sent via WhatsApp of people being attacked. It's really horrifying stuff. And then you do a simple search and find out that this is the hoax that's been in circulation for years.
It's very dangerous, and I think we ought to be careful as a country, especially as we approach the 2018 election, and then considering that this is also a country that is ethnic and religiously polarized. Okay, so we have to be very careful about the kind of things they share. So everybody has a sense of responsibility not to share something that they can't verify. And I always have these issues with people that I'm in WhatsApp group with, because there's just some guys who they just love to share. Yes. Right. So anything they just get. They just sometimes they don't even read. They just download.
Someone shared something recently about a particular chocolate brand being infected with blood from it, and I literally I just said if you took 5 seconds and did a search on the Google, you would have seen that this is a hoax, and it's been spread for years.
And then it's spread. Another thing that's worrying, sorry for me, is also clickbait. Clickbait is another version of fake news that you got to be very careful about. So
deliberately misleading headlines.
Pressure the media is on to get traffic, they also deliberately put out headlines that are misleading
and sensational.
There's another reason to be careful. There's a story going around of a man that was arrested at the airport for child pornography, and the video apparently got on his phone by all those WhatsApp videos.
Forwarded messages.
He doesn't even open, but because his settings download pictures and videos automatically. He's like, I've never seen this video before in my life. It is a country that is serious about possession of child pornography.
Right. When you're being cleared, might I add that Vanguard had this report yesterday about WhatsApp releasing a statement really that their latest updates has a feature that has been added that labels forwarded messages. So the forwarded messages now come with a label. So for you to identify where those messages are coming from, and for you to know that it's fake or not. Even Twitter has put in some technology like that as well, especially to identify those accounts that are fake, set up, very shady reasons, and then they are deleting them. And for those who bought fake followers, you see their follower numbers to drop in the coming days. So all these companies are actually working together to eradicate this.
And just to round up now, because we are done with our stories for this morning, thank you to our analysts for coming in. We've got a few messages. As Tyler Steve Obiako says, why is Kemi Adeosun not defending herself in this NYSC saga? That is the ₦1,000,000 question. We'll come back to that. Flexmaster Nate says, when civil servants cancel appointments, this is up on Twitter, and exams in higher institutions and recruitment processes, they show no remorse. I was made to travel to Abuja from Lagos up to 8 times to fix small issue on my passport. They deserve to be at the end of their own impunity. And then Sam Agogo says, privatize NIPOST, problem solved. And if we go back over to our WhatsApp message, of which there are so many, Ahmed says, on fake news, I think that the government should put a law to punish people who share what they have not verified. We've lost lives due to fake news. But if the government tries it, I don't know how it's going to work out. Please follow our analysts online at Ugo Dre, at Funmi Odude, and you can keep following us on Smooth at Smooth 91 FM Lagos. Let us know what your thoughts are. Coming up next, though, at 8:15, we will be switching lanes and talking entertainment inside of the Grapevine. Keep listening.
The headlines, the stories.